All right, we're diving into prompt engineering today. But don't worry if it sounds kind of new to you. It's basically learning to talk to AI in a way it gets.
Yeah, it's like figuring out the secret code to unlock AI's full potential.
Totally. Instead of just throwing any old question at it and hoping for the best, you can guide it to give you exactly what you need, like whether it's some creative content, solutions to a tricky problem, or even just a better grasp on a certain topic.
Like having a superpower, really.
Exactly. And guess what? We're focusing on this cool technique called the ReAct pattern.
Ooh, interesting.
It's a way you structure your prompts so the AI doesn't just spit back information, but it actually takes action. Think of it this way. Instead of asking, how do I bake a cake, and getting a boring list of ingredients, you're kind of saying, okay, AI, let's bake this cake together. First, check out my dietary restrictions. Then whip up a recipe that fits those, and finally walk me through the steps, like one by one.
I love that analogy. So we're combining reasoning with action, guiding the AI through a thought process so it considers different factors and spits out actionable steps.
Right on. So our source material defines the ReAct pattern as a method that blends reasoning, the re part, with action. That's the act bit. Can you unpack that a bit more for us?
Okay, so the re part is all about making sure that AI really gets the problem or task you're throwing at it. It's like asking it to put on its detective hat, and really analyze the situation. You might say, first, think about the current economic climate and analyze how it could impact our marketing strategy. See, that pushes the AI to think critically and consider all the different angles.
Okay, makes sense. So then the act part is where we guide the AI to actually suggest stuff we can do based on its analysis, right?
You got it. It's like saying, okay, AI, now that you've chewed on the problem, what should we actually do about it? Sticking with the marketing example, you might add, based on what you just figured out, recommend 3 specific marketing campaigns that are like tailor-made for the current economic climate, and then break down each campaign step by step.
Gotcha. Analyze, then act. But why is this ReAct pattern so powerful? What makes it better than just throwing a basic question at the AI?
Now, that's where things get really interesting. One of the big challenges with AI right now is that they can sometimes hallucinate. Yeah, they make stuff up or give answers that just don't make any sense. By guiding the AI through this reasoning process with the ReAct pattern, we make it less likely to go off the rails. We're basically scaffolding the AI's thinking, making sure it stays focused and produces more reliable results.
So it's kind of like we're teaching the AI to think logically and systematically?
Bingo. And it's not just about avoiding these hallucinations. It also helps us manage the how much the AI has to process at once.
The cognitive load.
Yeah, that. When we break down these complex tasks into smaller, more manageable steps, it's just easier for the AI to handle the information and spit out relevant stuff.
It's like we're teaming up with the AI instead of just expecting it to magically get what we want. Let's get practical, though. Our source material talks about best practices for using the ReAct pattern. Where should we even start?
Well, first things first. We got to encourage that step-by-step reasoning I mentioned earlier. Don't rush the AI into action. Let it really analyze things before asking for solutions.
Got it. So instead of just saying, hey, create a whole marketing plan, we break it down into those re and act steps, right? What else should we remember?
Be super specific about the actions you want the AI to take. Don't just ask for general advice. Like, really nail down the outcome you're aiming for.
So back to that cake example. Instead of just saying, tell me how to bake a cake, I could say, create a detailed chocolate cake recipe for 12 people and break down the whole baking process step by step.
Nailed it. The more specific those instructions are, the more likely the AI is to give you what you actually need. Actionable, relevant results.
Okay, got to be clear about those action steps. Anything else?
The cool thing about the ReAct pattern is that you can use it for a ton of different things, from planning and making decisions to troubleshooting and brainstorming. So as you start messing around with it, don't limit yourself. Think about how you could use it for your own work or even just personal projects.
That's a great point. I'm already picturing using this to plan a vacation or even just organize my to-do list. But before we get carried away, our source material also has this disclaimer section.
Right. Important to remember that even with fancy techniques like ReAct, AI models are still just tools at the end of the day. Crazy, powerful, but not perfect.
Totally. And that disclaimer really underlines how important it is to use our own judgment. Don't just blindly accept everything the AI throws at us, even with all these cool prompting tricks.
Exactly. We got to always look at the AI's output critically. double-check the info, and use our own knowledge and experience to make sure those suggestions make sense.
Like having a super smart intern.
Right.
They can do a ton of the legwork, but we're the ones calling the shots. I'm really starting to see how powerful prompt engineering can be, especially with this ReAct pattern. It's not just about getting info from AI. It's like having a conversation with it, guiding it to produce stuff that's actually useful and actionable.
Yeah. It's about taking that next step, moving beyond just asking questions and actually collaborating with AI. And the exciting thing is, we're just scratching the surface here.
So true. There's a whole world of prompt engineering techniques out there just waiting to be explored. Our source material actually encourages us to keep learning, keep experimenting, and it points us toward a great resource. Debabrata Pruseth's blog. He's the author of our source material.
Our source material actually highlights this thing called strategic planning as like a perfect example of where this ReAct pattern can really shine. Imagine, right, you're a business owner, you're trying to figure out this ever-changing market, and you need to come up with a whole new marketing strategy.
Instead of just asking the AI for some random marketing tips that might not even apply to us, we can use the ReAct pattern to create something that's actually tailored to our needs, right?
Exactly. So let's say you own a small bookstore and you're competing with those online giants, right?
Tough competition.
Yeah, for sure. So you could start by asking the AI to analyze your current position in the market. You might say something like, okay, first off, considering how much online booksellers are growing, analyze our bookstore's strengths and weaknesses, but focus on our local community and what makes us unique.
Okay, so we're setting the scene, giving the AI some background. Then to get those actionable steps, we move on to the act part of the prompt.
Right. You could say, based on that analysis, put together a step-by-step marketing strategy that uses our strengths and tackles our weaknesses, like outline actual tactics we can use, and even suggest some key performance indicators or KPIs to track how we're doing.
And just for anyone who's not familiar with KPIs, they're like these measurable values that help you see if your marketing efforts are paying off. Stuff like website traffic, social media engagement, or even in-store sales.
Exactly. By throwing in KPIs in our prompt, we're not just getting ideas, we're getting a whole roadmap, complete with measurable outcomes. And the best part is this ReAct approach isn't limited to just marketing. You can use it for all sorts of problem-solving situations.
I'm telling you, it's like a universal framework for working with AI. Our source material also talks about using ReAct to troubleshoot technical issues, something I think a lot of people struggle with.
Oh, for sure. Let's say your website just crashes out of nowhere, right? And you have no clue what's going on.
Panic mode.
Totally. But instead of going crazy Googling error messages, you can use ReAct to guide the AI through the whole troubleshooting process.
So instead of just chucking the error message at the AI and hoping it figures it out, I might start by saying, all right, first, take a look at this error message I'm getting, and keep in mind that we just did a software update on the website.
Exactly. And then to get those action steps, you'd follow up with something like, based on what you find, give me a prioritized list of possible solutions to fix this error, and for each solution, break down exactly what I need to do to implement it.
It's like having a virtual tech support guru right there with you, helping you narrow down the problem and find the best way to fix it. But even with these super detailed prompts, we still got to use our own heads, right?
Absolutely. AI can be incredibly helpful, but it's not magic. We always need to think critically about the AI's suggestions. Test solutions carefully and never do anything that seems risky or just doesn't make sense to us.
Like having a super smart intern, they can do a ton of the work, but ultimately we're the ones making the final call. I'm really starting to see how powerful prompt engineering can be, especially with this ReAct pattern. It's not just about getting information from AI, it's about having an actual conversation with it, guiding it to produce stuff that's useful, stuff that we can actually act on.
It's about taking that next step, going beyond just asking questions and actually collaborating with AI. And you know what? We're just getting started.
That's right. There's a whole universe of prompt engineering techniques out there just waiting to be explored. Our source material actually encourages us to keep learning, keep experimenting, and it points us towards this fantastic resource, the blog of Debabrata Pruseth. He's the one who wrote our source material. So anyone listening who's ready to really step up their AI game, Debabrata's blog is like the place to be.
It really is, like a treasure chest of insights on prompt engineering and all things generative AI, or Gen AI, as some people call it.
AI.
It basically covers AI that creates new content, stuff like text, images, even music.
So if you're like a writer looking for inspiration, a marketer making social media posts, or even a developer building the next big AI tool, Debabrata's blog has something for everyone.
What I like is that he doesn't just tell you what prompt engineering is. He goes deeper into the why behind it all.
Yeah.
It helps you really understand those core principles so you can adapt all these techniques to different situations.
Yeah, he gives you the keys to the kingdom, not just a tour, right?
Exactly.
But even more than that, DeBrada really highlights, like, the human side of AI.
Oh, absolutely. He's always reminding us that AI is a tool and it's our responsibility to use it ethically. Like, we got to think critically about the impact of AI and make sure we're using these powerful technologies for good.
That's so crucial. It's easy to get swept up in all the excitement of AI and forget
It's
that,
true.
there can be downsides too. So before we wrap up this deep dive on prompt engineering, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question.
Okay, hit me with it.
We've talked about how prompt engineering helps us team up with AI to solve problems and reach goals. But what about the bigger picture? How can we use these techniques to not just improve our own lives, but make a real positive impact on the world?
Wow, that's a powerful question. It really makes you think beyond just our own little bubble and consider how AI affects society as a whole. I challenge everyone to really think about that and maybe even share your thoughts on DeBrada's blog.
And on that note, a huge thank you to everyone for joining us on this deep dive into the world of prompt engineering. I hope you've come away with a better understanding of how powerful this technique can be and how it can help you unlock the true potential of AI.
And if you're ready to jump into the world of prompt engineering yourself, I highly recommend checking out DeBrada Pruseth's blog. You won't be disappointed.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dives. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.